Kia ora and welcome back to the Combat Corner. My name's Jackson.
My name's Kobe.
And today we are breaking down the UFC fight night that is taking place tomorrow. Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker, the man from the desert.
The man from the desert. We've got some more fight announcements that Dana has graced us with this past week. We've got a little bit of news from some back and forths on the old social media.
Back and forths. Ian Garry's back in the news.
Unfortunately. I've got a drink.
He does.
To review today, because someone has decided that they're not drinking.
No, I'm doing a 72-hour water fast currently, so no carbohydrates.
Anyway, so what I'll be reviewing is Urban Habanero and Lime Lager. It's 5.8% alcohol, and it looks rather nice. But I'm going to crack into that in a second once we get into the episode, which I think we should do right now.
Let's fucking go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Combat Corner.
Oh, it's a good crack.
It's a boy.
Is it?
It's frothing a wee bit.
A little bit.
It did kind of go flying across the ute, though, didn't it?
It did.
On the way back from the supermarket.
Both our faults, we'll say.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Tastes nice. I like it.
Ah. Holy shit. That is something.
Good.
I don't think...
Let me sniff it.
It's spicy, bro.
That's very hoppy. Oh, habanero and lime.
Yeah. I feel like I've just had a bite into a spicy burrito.
Oh, flame-kissed lager. For huge notes of lime, lemon, and grapefruit, a crushed fruit citrus explosion to counter the warming spice of habanero chilies. Wow. So there's a very unique beer. Something that Combat Corner has not experienced yet.
That's right. That's right. It is a very unique beer.
For a very unique man.
That's me. He's talking about me. But I'll give that a proper breakdown once I've had a few more sippy lalas.
We've got a fight night.
We do.
We do.
Finally.
We've got a fight night coming up.
It's back.
It's back. It's back again. We actually have stuff to talk about.
Back on the road.
It is. It's a pretty cool fight night, honestly. It's unfortunately the first topic we will discuss. Unfortunately, it's lost its co-main event, which does suck. I was pretty excited to see that one. Yeah. Always like to see Carp fight because he's entertaining as fuck.
He is very.
He's just like a fireball.
Yeah.
Of homophobic slurs, right hands, left hands, weird little tricks and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't hold back in all meanings.
Yeah. He doesn't hold back whatsoever. He almost fought Izzy. That was funny as.
Yeah, that was hilarious. That was probably one of my favorite press conference moments last year, I'd say.
That could be number one, honestly, for me, I think. Because that was just
it's like random. A flyweight trying to like scrap a middleweight on a stage. And he kind of made Izzy look a little bit awkward too.
Yeah, and he was not afraid.
No, at all. He was like not backing down.
No, he would have done it.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. So, yeah. Carp has dropped out of his fight. The fight has been cancelled due to the weight that he was over. I think he was over like 3 pounds. It just sucks, really. I think he weighed in 29.5.
Got too much ham over Christmas.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. Honestly, believe that it's probably down to a bit of a Christmas blowout that he couldn't avoid, which is a shame. It's a big shame.
That's the problem, I guess, with people fighting at the start of the year. That's why we have heard fighters in the past. I know it's probably a little bit different for someone like Tai Tuivasa talking about it, but a lot of people, it would be pretty hard being the first fight back. You've got to stay so disciplined over Christmas and New Year's and that while you're around family who are focused on having a good time.
Absolutely.
God, yeah. I wouldn't be able to do it.
No, I would never take a fight at that point. But I mean, like, the opportunity calls. You've got to do it, you know? Like,
That's true.
You've got to do it. But, like,
and this guy's on a
like
warpath at the moment.
Yeah.
He needs to keep fighting people to make his way to the top.
But it's a real big shame. Maybe he should move up to 135. He's had problems on the scale before. You know, that's a documented issue. And if it keeps happening, you know, he won't be the biggest at 135, but is it worth?
He's shown he's got the power.
Yeah, exactly. He's knocked people out before, that's for sure. He's got the power, he's got the skills. You know, he definitely could go up to 135, but man, I really want to see him fight Kai, and he has to be at 125 to do so. That fight would be fun as fuck, but it's so annoying. If he won this fight and they did do a UFC fight card in New Zealand, he would have been on it against Kai, probably. So
I would say so.
That would have been fun, but
it's still not completely off the table. I mean, they were booked to fight beforehand.
They have been.
Kai got injured, so
concussion.
I mean, they could just go ahead and book that fight for Cape's next fight. You know, like who was he booked to fight this weekend?
Pretty good guy. I think he's been booked to fight this guy twice.
Oh, really? What happened the first time?
I don't know. I think he maybe also missed weight. Let's look it up, eh?
Right. We have been blessed with some much better weather while you're bringing this
right into it, eh?
Yeah, I know. Well, the people want to hear.
So we lost to Ankalaev before.
Oh, okay.
In a 3-round decision.
When was that?
That was quite a while ago in 2021.
Okay. Almost 3 years ago now.
Big shame, man. Fuck. Oh, that's just one of the weigh-ins. Yeah, so first fighter to miss weight in 2024. I wonder if we'll see that again with the old Christmas curse, you know.
Yeah,
we'll see that
I mean,
again.
it's we've probably got 1 or 2 more events where it could affect people. I'd say. I don't see Sean missing weight.
No, definitely not. Drakus neither.
Drakus will not miss weight. Yeah, they're both very, very professional. But maybe some other people on that card.
Potentially.
Being a pay-per-view, it's a bit deeper in terms of people and the amount of fights. So we could see that happening.
Absolutely. Again. Yeah. Luckily, this is the only fight that has been cancelled on the card because it's. I was about to say it's pretty light, this card, but honestly,
it's got some sleeper fights on there.
It does. Not UFX. What's the fuck is UFX? UFC. So
UFX. We have a separate podcast about that, don't we?
About the UFX.
Yeah.
So breaking down the card, getting into it, the people who are actually fighting on the card who didn't miss weight. Check this out, man. We've got like a pretty decent wee card. You know, Jim Miller's back. The man, the myth.
We thought we'd see him at UFC 300.
He might still.
You reckon?
Yeah, if he wins this fight, he'll be betting for a fight on 300. You know, he fought on 100, 200, now potentially 300.
That's
insane. What a baller.
That is pretty cool.
Pretty dope. But let's start at the top, eh? Magomed Ankalaev rematches Johnny Walker. What are your thoughts on the main event?
I was so hyped for this fight the first time round. It's a great matchup for this division. Both guys are. They have shown that they deserve to be at the top, but each time that they have been in that fight that could elevate them to potentially a title shot or a title eliminator, they've fallen up just short. Ankalaev fighting for the belt and having a draw, that kind of been nice. That's got to be a very tricky one to come back from in terms of motivating yourself to get back into training and especially when quite a lot of people, including Jan, thought he won that fight. But on the other side of this, Johnny Walker has been knocked out a couple times now in the UFC, but more memorably by Jamahal Hill.
Big one,
who then later went on to become the champion after beating Glover. But Johnny Walker, always an exciting guy to watch. Brings a real fire and a real atmosphere to the cage that not many people do nowadays. A really exciting matchup. Even the first, it didn't last more than a couple of minutes the first time round, but those first couple of minutes looked pretty good. In my opinion, for Johnny Walker, I think he looked quite
on the feet. He looked like he had pretty big.
He nearly landed that flying knee
he
as
did.
well. Oh my god,
close. That fake to the flying knee. Yeah, on the feet he looked far superior. Obviously, when he got taken down, Ankalaev looked to be, you know, the better fighter on the ground.
He was making his way back up, though.
He was, and then he got kneed, unfortunately, which was silly. But very interesting clash of styles. Like, I think Johnny Walker's pretty good on the ground. We haven't seen much from him on the ground, but he is Brazilian. That always helps.
It's an advantage, yeah.
If he gets taken down, maybe we'll see a bit of his ground game. You never know. But we have seen him wrestled before by lesser opponents than Ankalaev. So, you know, there's a lot of questions to be answered. Maybe Johnny Walker's worked a lot on his takedown defense, his ability to get back up, his bottom game, sweeps, submissions from the bottom. You never know.
He said he's looking for revenge in this fight, which is a nice little storyline. But
it is. It's a tough one to call. They're both really good, and they do have kind of opposite styles.
They do.
Ankalaev has shown pretty decent hands, though, to be fair.
I think these guys really don't like each other either, which adds another dimension to this fight, which I really like. It kind of
beefs it up.
Yeah, it beefs it up. It makes it a bit more exciting and puts you on the edge of your seat a little bit more.
Makes you edge a little bit.
Keeps
you edging.
It's like, who could potentially get emotional in there and let that overrule the game plan or whatever.
Really could be either of them as well. They're both pretty hot-headed.
They are.
Ankalaev's shown a bit of an inability to control his temper at times, getting frustrated. And his knee. And Johnny Walker's a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, I mean, after that fight got called off last time and they were still in the cage, they continued
brawling.
Yeah. Had to get broken up by security. You're really going hard on the water today, mate.
Well, I haven't eaten any food for a long time now. This is kind of helping.
Nice.
Good. Nice. It's good. It's cold. I like water. Everyone, drink more water. Take a sip of your water right now if you're listening to this. Ash McNichol. But yeah, great fight. Great fucking banger.
Who do you see?
Very glad that these guys are running it back.
Who do you see coming out on top?
I'm going to be logical, and I'm going to stick with Ankalaev, and I'm going to say I'm not going to say by decision. I mean, you'd kind of look at a wrestler, and you look at it, and you're kind of like, yeah, often they grind out a 5-round decision, but Johnny Walker and Ankalaev seems like too good of a wrestler to take this to decision if he can implement his game plan. So I think if Ankalaev can keep him on the ground, he will get a finish within the first 3 rounds. Or maybe, first 3 rounds, Ankalaev, if he can implement his game plan. But there's a lot of unanswered questions about Johnny Walker. You know, is his takedown defense better now than it has been? Can he get back up? You know?
Thing for me is, if it does go to the ground, what I want to see from Magomed is for him to be doing something on the ground. I mean, in that fight against Jan, sorry, that didn't sound very technical, but like, I want him to stay busy, right?
Yeah.
In that fight against Jan, he had his back for the last 2.5, maybe even 3 rounds, like, and just did nothing with it. Wasn't ground and pounding. He was getting told constantly by the ref that he needed something. Yeah, you have to do something. And when you were like that experienced a grappler, you'd be thinking he'd be shooting for submissions. He'd be like maybe just going ham on the ground and pound.
Yeah.
If he can do that, I think he can beat anyone in the light heavyweight division. But
absolutely.
The thing is if he goes in there and does the same thing that he did against Jan, I can see Johnny Walker coming out with a win.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Walker will be a lot more active in terms of on the feet, I think, than what Jan may have been. Just in my opinion,
he'll probably have a lot more of a gas tank. Yeah, and seem to gas out pretty quickly.
Yeah. Is it 5 rounds?
It is. Yeah, it's 5 rounds. It is. So that's a big factor again. I think one thing about Ankalaev that's so kind of that kind of puts him above a lot of people in the light heavyweight division is his well-roundedness. Like his ability on the feet is not bad at all. He's knocked people out. He's finished people with strikes. He's very clean on the feet. It's not his biggest strength. His biggest strength is obviously the wrestling, the takedowns, but his ability to mix it all together is what makes him so dangerous in this division. When we've got a division full of people who have one set of skills that they want to implement, someone like him, if he can race to the top, that is perfect for him. So yeah, I really think that Ankalaev, that is going to be the big point in this fight. It's going to be his well-roundedness, his ability to strike with Walker, to avoid the punches, to then slip, take him down, control him, beat him up on the floor. We've seen him knock people out with ground and pound before.
I personally don't see this fight getting past the third round.
I agree, yeah.
I think there is a bit of a playbook on how to stop Ankalaev, and I think that came from, again, that Jan fight. I think leg kicks, which we did see Johnny Walker targeting early in that first fight before it was stopped.
He's got some good leg kicks too.
I think that is the way to beat this guy from Johnny Walker's point of view. Set up the leg kicks.
Don't get too wild.
Don't get too wild. I'd still want to see a little bit of that from him because that's obviously his style.
Yeah. But yeah, don't get too wild with swinging punches where he might be able to slip, take you down.
Yeah.
Stick to the fundamentals and, just build from there,
Yeah. I think, like I said before, I think it is going to be who can keep their head cool in this fight, who will prevail. But, yeah, Ankalaev, if he can get him to the ground, he needs to stay busy. Otherwise, Johnny Walker on the feet, just smash out those legs, and then he will find an opening up top. And we've seen him. He's got the power to put the lights out on anyone. So
yeah, in his hands, his elbows, his knees, his kicks, he can put people out.
His knees are
his knees are crazy.
He has the best flying knee in MMA. I'm going to say. I'm just going to say MMA. If you haven't seen what I'm about to say, like go on Johnny Walker's Instagram. You'll probably have to scroll down quite a ways because he's quite active. But there's a post from, I think, before his last fight when he was warming up at one of the UFC events, I think, and his coach is holding pads well above his head. And this guy's
very athletic.
And Johnny Walker is jumping up and kneeing this pad like way up in the air.
Crazy.
It is insane, man. And if you can get that high, the amount of power that you are generating from that knee when you're at someone's chin height, fucking hell. Yeah.
As well as that, his elbows are vastly.
Yeah.
His back, spinning back elbow is he's shown that's very important. Yeah. His elbows from the clinch, like his fight against Khalil Roundtree when he had him in the tie clinch, just short elbows, 2 of them.
His timing's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a very athletic guy. Unfortunately, he has a bit of a chin, not very good chin.
Chin issue, yeah.
Got a chin issue.
We've seen him be knocked out 3 times in one fight.
Yeah. He's got the goofiest knockouts. Whenever he gets knocked out, he's knocked out like bad.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, he like falls, like flings himself around.
Yeah.
It's very strange. But so you're picking Walker for this fight?
Well, yeah, I am. Okay. I'm picking Walker for this fight.
I'll go with Ankalaev. I'll say by finish, first 3 rounds, just to be devil's advocate. I really want Walker to win. I want to be wrong. I would probably get up, scream, maybe even piss myself a little bit if Walker got the KO.
I don't see it getting past the 3rd round, like I said, but I think Johnny Walker, 2nd round KO.
Cool. Very good. First round, a bit of control time from Ankalaev, maybe?
Possibly.
2nd round, it starts.
Yeah. I think early 2nd round.
Cool. Well, let's move on to the rest of the card. Jim Miller, he is the new co-main event, as we mentioned. Carp is now out due to weight miss.
UFC veteran.
He's the most fights in the UFC, I believe. Now, I think
you're right. Yeah,
he overtook Cowboy. But maybe even the most wins as well. The guy is a record-breaking machine because he's just been at it for so long.
How long has he been at it? When was his first fight in the organization?
In the org?
40 years old.
Peak.
Which is, we have seen, is still young enough to compete.
He knocked someone out in his last fight, so that's that KO, that last fight KO, 23 seconds in, he knocked out Jesse Butler. That was pretty insane. That was on that fight that
submission win over Donald Cerrone as well.
Yeah, that was obviously Donald Cerrone's one of his last, his last fight, I believe. But he has been at it since day fucking. Look at this.
That's
this is
incredible,
insane.
man.
So UFC 89 was his first fight. He won by rear naked choke, Bisping versus Levin in 2008.
Oh my goodness.
He's been fighting since 2005. So next year it'll be 20 years. He made his professional debut.
That's incredible.
That is insane. So he's just been the company man. Give him his wish. If he wins this fight, even if he loses this fight, give the man the wish that he wants.
He
Put
needs
him on
to be
UFC
on.
300.
That's right.
That's a record that will never be broken.
No.
100, 200, and 300.
That's
obviously.
incredible. It is actually incredible. Like,
it is insane. The guy is a machine. All my love goes out to Jim Miller. I'm wishing you the best this weekend, my guy.
like it's rare for like just in moving away from MMA for a second. It's rare for someone to stay at like just working like a Monday to Friday job at a company for 19 years. Okay,
yeah,
let alone fighting professionally against the top guys in the world
and staying at the top level.
Yeah,
you know, he's outside of the top 15, but he's still getting good wins. He's been in and out of that top 15. He's had big fights that he's won against top opponents. You know, he's a bit of an up and down fighter, but the longevity is something to behold. You know,
up against Gabriel Benitez.
Gabriel Benitez, 35 himself, so he's not a spring chicken. Won his last fight against. Oh, he didn't fight in 2023, so he's coming back after a long layoff. That could play a big factor.
It could
in this fight. Gabriel Benitez, his last fight, he did get a KO, but like I say, that was back in 2022, late 2022. So it's over 2 years since his over a year since his last fight. His fight before that, he got KO'd. See what KO decision. So he's been KO'd a couple times recently. He's on the tail end of his career. We could see another Jim Miller KO here.
We could
early.
We could. Yeah, I like Jim Miller for this fight. He's been more active, obviously, than anyone in history, but in UFC history at least. But
and even recently, like guy's a machine. I'll pick him too. I'm gonna say finish round 2. I don't think it's going to be as quick as the last one, but like I say, this guy, his last fight was obviously a TKO in the win column. His 2 fights before that, he got KO'd, TKO'd. He won a fight by TKO before that, and then decision TKO. So he's been TKO'd or KO'd a lot in his career, especially recently. And he's older, signs of the chin maybe withering away. I think it's a good shout.
Yeah. Yep.
You got a slam KO.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Good on him. Yeah.
Jim Miller round 2 KO.
I think Jim Miller first round. I'm going to say submission.
Submission?
Yep.
He has submitted quite a few people.
I don't know much about Benitez. He's from Mexico.
He's had a few submissions in his time. Only a couple. So maybe he could be okay on the ground. But
I think Jim's gonna want to get out of there pretty quickly if he wants to make this call out for UFC 300 and be healthy enough to make it to UFC 300.
He's gonna look for the finish.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I agree.
Should we move on?
Let's move on. So we both picked Jim Miller. I'm gonna say round 2.
Round 1.
Round 1. Very good. Very good. So Ricky Simon's on the card. Ricky Simon, a bit of a fan favorite, a bit of a brawler, heavy hands, one of those short, stocky 135ers. He's coming up against Mario Bautista.
It is Batista, yeah.
Batista. So, a bit of a good matchup here. Don't know all that much about Batista. Honestly, I'm a bit out of the loop after Christmas. It feels like the memories of the UFC have just kind of gone.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Well, it has been a wee while since we've had a card.
We've broken it down,
Who is this guy?
Who is this man? Pretty active. So he was supposed to fight Garbrandt, I remember that. So
he fought twice last year.
Fought twice. He won them both. Decision and a submission.
Okay.
Before that, he's on a bit of a fucking streak, this man.
Five in a row there?
We should know about this guy. 5 in a row.
20-4. Is that his record?
He's 20. No, I think he's less than that. So last loss was against Jon Jones, TKO round 2.
In 2021.
Quite a while ago. So he's been on a 5-fight run, jumping into that top echelon in the bantamweight division. Never an easy task for anyone. But Ricky Simon's no easy feat. Ricky Simon is a very good fighter, and he's also been
Ricky Simon's 20-4.
Yeah.
That's where I saw that.
So his last fight, he got knocked out by Song Yudong. Nothing to be ashamed of there. Song is a top bantamweight. Before that, he beat Jack Shaw. He beat Asensao, Brian Kelleher. So we can't argue that Ricky Simon has definitely had Ray Borg.
I think this will be a brawl.
The better opponents, yeah, for sure.
I think this could potentially be the fight of the night.
Could be, for sure. I think you could be right there, mate. You could be right. I think we're going to see a brawl too. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a decision. If I'm completely honest, but it's going to be a war.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Okay.
I'm going to take Ricky.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Batista. He's just seems to be on a bit of a tear at the moment.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm going to go with the momentum.
With Mario.
Yeah.
And look, we got Mario, and we got fucking...
And we got Waldo.
Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. This should be in Italy, this fight.
No, it should be. It should be.
In Italy, man.
The plumbing at this event will be phenomenal.
Insane. They've done it. They've checked it. And yeah, fucking imagine the bars in Italy on Sunday. Or maybe that's
all the fighters will be on mushrooms.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Stuffed with nice pizza and pasta.
Oh.
Brilliant. Moving on, Phil Hawes.
It's an interesting name, isn't it? I mean, right, I don't want to go too deep
into the Hawes.
Into filling that, but hey, I mean, it's one thing, right? Just to take a slight break from breaking this card down. When you're naming a child, if you've got a last name of Hawes, right? I know it's not spelt the same. It's said the same. Just think about it.
Think about it.
It's like naming him fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or kill.
Or suck.
Or drop them in the Avon. I don't know. Like, it's just, there's a weird...
I didn't say it.
Come on, you got to write that down and say it out loud and go, yeah, that's a bit borderline.
This kid's going to get bullied.
Yeah. For what?
But
what are you filling?
He's done all right.
What are you filling them with?
What's going on? Concrete? Maybe they don't even know. In America, because Americans are so gullible and silly, they probably don't even know. They're probably not even clicked.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. In New Zealand, we do look for how we can immediately bully someone, I think. It's just something.
But it's a good thing because it develops tough skin.
That's right, yeah.
As a country, we've got relatively tough skin to, jokes and banter. But in America, they'd get triggered and cry and
cancel people.
Piss themselves and cancel. But he's a good fighter. He's in the UFC. Middleweight fight between Phil Hawes and Bruno Ferreira. Did you think I was going to mispronounce that name?
No, it's just every time you say the other name, I have to grimace a little bit.
Pretty good though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. Good.
Bruno. So Phil Hawes, he has had an interesting career, but up and down. He most recently fought Alaskarov and got KO'd pretty clean in that first round. He came out brawling. It was a firefight. I wouldn't want to do that against someone like Crown.
No.
Completely honest.
No, that's fair enough.
Counter hook, KO'd clean. So that was his last fight. But before that, let me pop the screen up there for you watchers on the wall, He hasn't been doing so well. He beat Darren Wynn, who's a bit of a protege from Daniel Cormier's gym. And then I think he had a go at Cormier that night, which was interesting. TKO'd him, but then he also lost to Roman Dolidze, who's been, surging towards the top. So that's not a bad loss. Before that, but back and forth, he got KO'd by Chris Curtis. He beat Kyle Daukaus, who's, he was all right for a while.
Yeah, he was.
So he's been
very up and down career, isn't it?
Correct, yeah. But then when we look at the career of Ferreira, 10-1. He's only lost one fight. That was cancelled. So his last fight was his only loss so far. He was 10-0 going into that fight. He lost. By TKO. So this could also be a fucking barn burner as well. I think this is going to be a 1-round war.
Yeah.
One of them's getting knocked out for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we have seen that from I was going to say Phil.
From Phil McCracken.
He does go in there and let his fist fly like right away.
Fly.
Yeah. He just gets right into the filling.
Gets right into the.
Yeah, I think Ferreira's going to have a point to prove. Having a 10-0 record is great.
It is,
but
10-1.
10-1,
10-1.
You've got to go.
Come on,
out there straight away and get right back into it and show everyone how you got to 10-0 in the first place. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I think this is going to go to Ferreira.
So do I. I think that too. Round 1 KO.
Yeah, they're just, unless they go in and they're a bit restrained, and they kind of feel each other out for a bit. That would then kind of set it up to be, like you say, a bit of a barn burner. But I just don't see it happening.
Well, they both got KO'd in their last fights.
True.
Sometimes
might be a bit more tentative.
Exactly right. So maybe both of them are going to be like, you know what? Instead of going out there and fighting, I'm gonna technically beat this guy. If they both do that, that can get a little bit frustrating, boring. Maybe we don't see the barn burner, but honestly, in all honesty, I think these guys are two heavy hitters, two crazy men. Round 1 KO, Ferreira.
I like it.
We'll see. We will see.
I'm with you on that one. That is the first one I think we agree on.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Next up, Arlovski versus Waldo, Mario's brother. Waldo Cortez Acosta. Another 10-1 guy. Arlovski's obviously been at it since day dot. He's probably the only person in the UFC that's been that fought in the UFC before Jim Miller, I'd say.
44 years old.
Let's check out when was his first fight in the UFC? UFC 28 in 2000. UFC 28. Lord. Fuck me. Silly. That is insane, man. So he's still fucking at it, and he's still
he's gone through some rough patches in his career, but
for sure. He's at about 3 fights in 2022. This guy's crazy. 3 in 2021.
Once last year,
but 41. Congratulations, Andrei Arlovski, for sticking at it, continuing to get a couple wins here and there. But I mean, bro, this guy,
Waldo,
he's the guy.
Salsa boy.
He's the guy. No, he's not.
Timothy.
I'm pretty sure
he's that guy.
You know that guy from Cuba, that heavyweight guy who's like a Taekwondo king or whatever?
Oh, yeah, we've seen a bit
about that guy. I think he's either fighting on this card or the first numbered event with Strickland and Duplessis. Maybe it's not this card, but
yeah, I think we would have heard a bit more about it if it was this card.
But he lost his second to last fight, unanimous decision, Marcos Rodrigo de Lima. Good fighter though, so there's no shame in that. And then he got a KO on the Holloway Korean Zombie fight card. I think this one's an obvious pick. Arlovski's going to sleep, round 1. Yeah, 41, man. 41.
44, isn't it?
No, maybe. Oh, yeah, fuck, 44. Yeah. Jesus. So he's 12 years older than the guy he's fighting, and I just don't see that as going well for the man. I want him to win. I'll be rooting for you, Arlovski, but it'll be a tough one, mate.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one. Round 1 KO Acosta. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Once again, I agree. Do you want to jump into just have a quick look-see at the prelims to see if that guy that we're talking about is there? No, it doesn't seem to be.
No, it must be on, sorry, 297. Whenever we peak, he won't be on the main card. Prelims. It's a good card, this card, though.
Oh, yeah. But we're gonna talk about that next week. So
leave that. We need content, guys.
You're gonna have to come back. You're gonna have to come back for that one. Maybe even early
prelims. Oh, maybe he's not even on this one. Maybe he's later on in the year.
We will do some research over the next week and figure out
let me have a look.
When this fella is coming in.
What's his name? Ah, there we go. So, look and see when he's actually fighting.
Nice.
Just fucking pasted it.
Well, unfortunately, mate, it hasn't worked. I will continue on with my weather report from earlier.
Please do.
We have had some absolute Barney weather this week.
Barney.
We had a 32-degree day on Thursday, which for Christchurch, New Zealand,
doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often, no. We're getting to about 26, 27 today, I think.
Yeah. Should we pull the weather up?
You might see us sweating a little bit through this episode as it is quite hot, and for some reason we still haven't got around to getting a fan or anything.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. I do have a fan, but it would affect the audio. It's quite loud. It's quite loud. Thank you for your weather report, Jackson. That was great.
Hey, thanks.
I can confirm 299 is when Robles de Spain is Spanier is fighting the Cuban Taekwondo black belt crazy motherfucker. He's 6'7".
His last 3 fights have a combined time of 19 seconds.
Wow.
So yeah, the 3 fights ago it was a 12-second TKO. The second to last fight was a 3-second TKO. And his last fight was a 4-second TKO, KO. So
that's a guy to watch. And they fed him Josh Parisian. How did they convince him to take this fight?
Honestly,
he's going to get KO'd.
Coming off 2 losses. Coming off 2 losses, you're fighting a guy.
He probably wants to steal the hype. Thinks he's.
It's like
pretty crazy. But anyway, we'll discuss that later on in the year. Some announcements from Daddy Dana White.
Oh, thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana. First of all, though, mate, you fucking dropped the ball the other day when you did that announcement. So first of all, he said he was going to announce some fights midnight on, I think, Wednesday. Postponed it 24 hours, so it was going to be midnight the next day. He claimed it was a title fight for UFC 300, got everyone so hyped. We all thought it was going to be fucking Pereira versus Izzy, maybe. Pereira versus
Aspinal.
Aspinal, maybe. You never know, right? Or Aspinal versus Garn or something. He dropped. What did he drop, Jackson? What did he do?
He dropped the women's flyweight. Was it flyweight?
Yes.
Women's flyweight title fight between Zhang Weili and who was the other woman?
Lee.
And Lee.
Her name is Lee.
Well.
So she is fighting Yang Xiaonan.
Yang Xiaonan.
It's a great fight. Don't get me wrong. This is a great fight. And I've seen a lot of people talking shit saying, oh, only casuals think that this is a bad fight. But it's like, bro, it's UFC 300. Put this fight, like so many commentators have been saying, put this fucking fight in China. It's Chinese versus Chinese women's fucking title fight. The first time ever.
Yeah.
Put it in China. You're trying to build the Asian audience, the Chinese audience.
I think there is a little bit of a problem with getting the UFC to China at the moment.
Oh, they've had fights there before.
No, I'm not saying that, but they had that fight card booked there. What? It was one of the last ones last year. And then all of a sudden, very last minute, they weren't able to do it in China anymore. And they had to.
Did that happen?
Yes. Yep.
Is that not just something we talked about, like
no.
a rumor?
Pull it up, Jamie. No, they had a whole event booked in China, right. And that was why the whole card was stacked with Asian and Chinese fighters.
That could be the reason. But fuck, man, I think it's dropping the ball. Put it in China at some point when they figure it out. Don't have this hog up a fucking fight on UFC 300, the main card. You know,
look, I think this will most likely be the 3rd fight down.
It'll be the 3rd title fight.
Yeah.
I think.
So, look, is Dana going to go and announce the main event or the co-main event before this fight? No. I think it's I think it's awesome that we're getting a women's fight as no, just hear me out. Look, I know that it's not everyone's cup of tea, all right? But the women's divisions in the UFC have come such a long way, especially in the last just few years, in terms of competition at the top. There used to just be one woman dominating everything for so long. We saw it with Rousey. We saw it with Nunes. We've seen it with so many of these women who get to the top and just are unbeatable by the rest of their competition. And we have seen these divisions slowly get more and more stacked with more and more talent. Okay? And I think this is a great fight.
I get what you're saying. I do. And maybe there is a place for a women's MMA fight on the main card, but it's supposed to be drama, entertainment, craziness, a bit, stuff that's not just down the byline, some different random stuff, just crazy stuff, entertainment. This is just a run-of-the-mill title fight.
There's still a lot of room for that, though.
There is, but
we've still got
every single fight to be that on 300. I don't know. I just think it's going to disappoint. It's not going to be as good as 299. There's no way it's going to be as good as 299. 300 should be where they stack all their fights. They maybe think that 300 is just going to sell itself, right? But whatever.
Look,
I'll be watching. Whatever.
I'm holding out just because I love this organization, because I love Dana White. I think I do. I love the guy.
He's a good man.
Some would say I'm trying to copy his look.
Yeah, and you have successfully.
Maybe I oil myself up from time to time.
You're not quite pink enough though.
I'm not, but nonetheless, I am holding out hope, big time, that the main event and the co-main will be huge. And I truly believe that they will be. I think that there will be fights that we never saw coming.
Probably, yeah.
And that will definitely overshadow what's going on here. I do think that he probably overhyped this announcement. Sure.
Yeah, sure. It was a big disappointment.
But the fight itself, I think it's exactly where it needs to be. But that's just my opinion. That's your opinion. Obviously, a lot of people do not agree with me right now.
It's just frustration. And look, they have announced some pretty damn good fights for first of all, the prelims, and the first fight on the main card is going to be Oliveira and Sarukian, which is a huge fight. Moving into the next announcement, Garbrandt versus Figgy on 300. That's on the prelims, and that's going to be a massive fight. Garbrandt moving up a skill level by quite a significant jump. This is his last chance.
He's showing he still wants to test himself. Yeah. He's showing he still wants.
Sure. Gotta be.
Yeah. Where is he ranked at the moment? Shall we bring up the bantamweight rankings?
I believe he's out of the rankings, but this fight would obviously put him right back in there.
Yeah, because Figgy coming off a win against Rob Font in an absolute amazing fight.
He isn't ranked. Yeah, so he's not ranked yet, but
Figgy ranked number 8.
He's been at the top before, which is kind of more important than being ranked, I guess, in this case, in this scenario.
And he did show in his last fight that he is still...
Yeah, and he's won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
So, and he hasn't been knocked out, which is good. He hasn't been clipped too bad, so...
But we do know that he has a problem with that chin. Yes. And if anyone's going to find it...
Figgy's a fucking lethal weapon.
He is a lethal
weapon. So, I'm hoping for the best for our boy Cody in this fight. But I'm also a big fan of Figgy, so this is going to be fireworks no matter what. Whoever wins, it's pushing them up the rankings. If Cody can win, it's his last chance to, solidify himself in the top 15. It proves to us that he's still got it, and maybe from there he can work his way back up to the top. But
if I was Davison, coming off a win against, because I think Rob Font was ranked 7th or
he took it 8th.
Okay, when they fought.
Yeah.
And now he's fighting an unranked guy. This is the perfect move up to bantamweight for him. He's showing that he can step in there against someone in the top 10, handle them with no worries. Oh, yeah. And then he's now booked against Cody Garbrandt, who
isn't ranked.
Isn't ranked, but over everything, he's a past champion. And he's one of the bigger names in the bantamweight division.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for Figgy to gain some more steam as well.
Yep.
Because Garbrandt's name does hold quite a bit of weight. You're right.
well, only 135 pounds.
Only 135
it's
pounds,
not that much weight.
It's not that much compared to other humans. We'll quickly move on, I think, unless you've got more to say about that one.
No.
Moreno versus Royval. The Battle of the Brandons.
Battle of the Brandons. They're having a Brandon off, as a young Dylan might say, if you're listening.
Great fight. Not, but anyway. Yeah, so Moreno's opponent obviously pulled out. Royval stepped in. Perfect opportunity for both these guys to get themselves their names back in the hat for the title shot. I think it's tough because Royval both these guys have lost to Pantoja multiple times. It's tough to market a fourth fight for Moreno and a third fight for Royval, especially after what happened in Royval's last fight. If he wins,
yeah, it's
tough, and it's going to be a banger for sure. It's a great fight, but
it is a great fight. Royval did show in that fight against Pantoja, he got very close. I know that there was a bit of a gas tank problem at the end there, for Pantoja, but Royval wasn't able to
capitalize.
No, couldn't capitalize on that, and in turn lost the fight. So
if he can work on his takedown defense and his getting back up from the ground, similar to what we talked about with Johnny Walker. He had a real chance in that fight. He was piecing him up on the feet, wasn't really getting hurt. He just kept getting taken down with the simplest, like any takedown he would fall.
And I think Moreno will definitely expose that.
Yeah, I believe so too. He's got more power than Royval. He's got crisp boxing, great kicks, and he's also got excellent jiu-jitsu.
Excellent jiu-jitsu, yeah.
So yeah, so it's I believe, yeah, I think Moreno will take that one. But it's going to be a banger no matter what.
Oh, hell yeah.
Two top guys.
Yeah.
Another really awesome announcement that we just missed in the last episode. Sarukian versus Oliveira for 300. And in that same announcement, Dustin versus Saint Denis was also
I think
announced.
we finished filming the last episode, and within about half an hour, this was announced. So
yeah, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Insane. But yeah, great fucking fight. Olives, I feel a little bit bad for him because, he did have that title fight lined up, got cut, and obviously, now he missed out.
Now he's missed out because Islam is injured.
Yeah, he's injured. His hand is injured, and he's got Ramadan. So I think Olives wants to stay busy, and he's picked the right guy to stay busy against. Because this will prove who the legitimate number one contender in this division is.
Yep, and I think for Charles Oliveira, he could have just as easily not taken this fight, right? But I think if you're fighting for the championship against Islam next, right, which, this sets that up, even though he was going to be fighting him originally, whatever, but this is perfect because Sarukian was going to be one of the guys next in line anyway. If Charles can take care of Sarukian, he won't have to fight him immediately as soon as he gets the belt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and look, both of these guys could be walking straight in there for a title shot right now. But they're both saying, look, I'm going to test myself against the other guy who is rightfully right at the top there.
They're risking it all.
They're risking it all, yeah.
And like you say, both of them could easily step into a title fight right away. So instead of just leaving it to Dana, they're like, right, let's fucking fight it out. Let's figure out who deserves this title fight, you or me.
Yep.
And we'll go from there.
Well, because they're both coming off wins against Beneil Dariush, the same guy, fairly similar fashion.
Yeah.
However, Sarukian managed to get it done a little bit quicker, which then propelled him right to the top of the title conversation. At that point, before that fight had happened, we were all just waiting for the Charles Islam matchup to be booked again because it had just been pulled out. But then Sarukian goes in there and puts on like a career highlight of a performance.
Against Benny, nonetheless, who's, he's a tough top guy.
Yeah.
Slightly lacking chin, but whatever.
Slightly lacking chin, but a lot of experience at the top level. And definitely still a dangerous guy in terms of his skill set. But this fight here, man, it is setting up a real banger.
Yeah, for sure. And they're so high level in both the ground game and with their hands. God, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a technical war.
Dude, I like Sarukian for this.
You do?
And I am a Charles Oliveira fan through and through.
Yeah.
But I just...
He's got that similar style to Islam.
He does. And he's the only guy so far, apart from obviously Islam's losses, that has really given him a full-on, you know.
It was a very close fight.
Very close fight. A hell of a war. Charles, great obviously, wrestling. In his fight against Islam, wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, do anything at all, really. It could be Charles's kryptonite for sure. Big, strong guy, great wrestling, good hands as well. You know, Charles got rocked by Islam. He could get rocked again.
Charles gets rocked by everyone.
Yeah, he does. It's just that, again, with Sarukian, he's not going to be afraid to come to the ground.
That's right.
He's going to come down there. He's going to try and submit you. And, you know, if he's not careful, that could happen.
I heard a little thing that Henry Cejudo was saying about Charles Oliveira. The guy's got almost 40 fights on his record, I believe. Yeah. And only 3 of them have gone to a decision. He lives by his sword and he dies by his sword, is what Cejudo said. And that is great for a fan, because, you know, every time you watch a Charles Oliveira fight, he's going in there and he's putting everything on the line.
Absolutely.
He's risking it all. He's going to take every opportunity he can to finish someone. But vice versa, he gets rocked a lot because of that. And he gets set down. And the problem with yeah, like you say, this fight is Sarukian will not be hesitating to fall him to the ground like a Justin Gaethje or a Dustin Poirier. In those fights, we saw Charles get rocked, knocked over, sit on his ass, look up at them and kind of be like, "You're not coming down here." Yeah. So he gets that time to recover, and kind of get his breathing back under control and kind of reset. But yeah,
with Sarukian, it's not happening.
It's not happening. No.
Got another huge fight in the lightweight division. Up and comer Saint Denis, Benoit Saint Denis. He's in there against Dustin. Yeah, we do. We like this guy a lot. Massive opportunity for him. This is a really big opportunity. He's very lucky to have this opportunity. Make it to the fight, Saint Denis, because you've got all the skills, what it takes to finish Dustin, to beat Dustin. It's going to be tough. Dustin can definitely win. But if you beat Dustin, this propels you into, you know, stardom easily, quickly.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, Benoit has been kind of spouting out a little bit lately, saying that he is the next BMF. And I think if he can go in there and have like a Dan Hooker level war with Dustin Poirier, that is definitely what he will get. Dustin is showing he's got a very extensive career and against the highest caliber competition. I think one of the most stacked records in the UFC today.
Absolutely.
Dustin Poirier. So he's a durable guy, a hell of a skill set, a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And obviously, I think, personally, he's got one of my favorite boxing styles in the UFC. Really just puts everything together so nicely.
Rolls with the punches.
With the punches. Just, it's such a crisp style to watch, man.
And usually he's got a great chin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in his last fight, he got head kicked, but that's, you know.
Oh. Yep.
But, you know, this is either going to be Dustin's, you know, maybe one of his last fights, or maybe it does propel him back into that that title picture, you know, if he can beat Saint Denis and then maybe, you know, get another fight.
And, I mean, we're saying this is a big test for Saint Denis, but I think just as big, like, this is the first time we've seen Dustin fighting a younger, hungry guy since Dan Hooker.
Yeah. He's older now.
He's
35.
He has taken that knockout recently. He's had a couple of losses before that.
Good. I'm glad that this fight has been announced. It's going to answer a lot of questions.
And Dustin didn't need to take this fight.
No.
He could have.
Proves he's still hungry that he did take it.
He is still hungry. He probably wants another shot at the belt, which good on him, because that would be very hard to stay motivated after getting there and losing twice in the same exact fashion. So, Dude, I love this fight. It's going to keep me up at night. I'm not going to be able to sleep.
Keep me hard.
It's going to keep me so hard.
Rock solid. Yeah, I can't wait for this. Can't wait for that. Some fucking good announcements right there.
Oh, yeah.
Some great announcements. Moving on from the announcements, though.
Yeah.
So Izzy didn't get convicted for his drink driving. That got dropped, which is good news for Izzy.
Good news for Izzy, but I don't know, man.
Is it favoritism?
Definitely, bro. I wouldn't be able to go in there and get off drink driving conviction.
No.
And the thing that pisses me off about this, right, is he's the first one to shit on this country, right? I'm not from this country either. I'm an immigrant here, technically speaking, right?
Same here.
But this country, he's calling New Zealand racist. He never wants to fight here. And then he gets pissed, gets behind the wheel of his car.
Then he gets let off.
What? Like, if you're at that level of a person, right?
You can get an Uber.
You can get an Uber for one. You get a fucking driver.
Yeah.
But no, he's behind the wheel of his car. Sure, everyone makes mistakes. I'm not saying that, but at least own your mistakes. But no, he made up something about wanting to fight in Canada, and that would.
He played on their heartstrings.
Who wants to fight in Canada?
I mean, I fully understand all the stuff that he said about New Zealand, the government here, the fact that fighters weren't allowed to train, but the rugby was, and
I understand that. That would have been frustrating
for sure.
But to go straight to saying it was racism.
There is certainly some racism towards black people in this country in certain areas.
There's racism towards black people everywhere in every country, and it's sick. It's not good. I'm not supporting it, but New Zealand, I don't know. I don't think it's one of the more racist places. You go to Australia, you go to America, there is obvious signs in those countries. I
think we're all right. But maybe when he grew up being like the only black kid in his school or whatever, or one of the only couple, probably did get targeted. But he rose above that, and I don't think as a country we are generally racist in any way. But I don't know. It's
hard for us to sit here.
Murky waters to jump into right here. It's a weird one because, like you say, if we drunk drove and we got caught, loss of license instantly, criminal record. Izzy managed to get off of it, and whatever happened in that courtroom is whatever. He's one of the biggest stars in this country, and that's probably played a factor.
I don't know. I just don't like seeing people get treated differently because
he'll go do it
their
again.
Status.
He'll do it again if he got off it. There's no repercussions. Like, all right, well, whatever. If he gets caught twice, obviously it's different. But people need to be punished for doing stuff like this. Drink driving is not a funny thing. It's not cool. A lot of people do it, and it's very fucking dangerous, and it's a pretty sick thing. So
it's not just you're putting at risk. You're putting all the people around you on the road. Yeah.
So it's not cool. He should have got a lesson taught. He should have been convicted for sure. He should have had his license stripped. He should have been fined.
He shouldn't be allowed to fight in Canada.
Shouldn't be allowed to fight in fucking Canada. That's the worst part about all this. He's allowed to fight in Canada.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
I'm going to get Justin Trudeau on the phone after this.
Same. But, it is what it is. I don't know the justice system all that well. I'm not a guy like that. I am a guy, not a woman. But it is what it is, right? Garry, Ian Gazza, first interview back. You've watched a couple clips, you've seen a couple things about this one. What was your take? It was pretty ridiculous in my opinion.
What's he doing, man? He has gone from being one of those guys who he was doing the whole. I'm sorry. I'm just. I don't know how you can go from being the level he was, like.
He was loved by most of the fans.
He was loved by most of the fans. He stirred up some drama, which is what fighters do. But as soon as it went the other way, I know it went a bit far, but you've gone a bit far.
Because
just grow up, man.
It wouldn't have gone that far if he didn't react like he did.
Yeah, he's just
big baby.
Oh my
God. Turning off his Instagram comments, Twitter comments, not taking any constructive feedback.
Be a man.
And he was reading from a fucking script, man. Like, what are you doing? Be a man and face the music. Tell us your true opinion. Don't read off a script. Ridiculous. It makes their marriage seem like it's like a business arrangement. And it's just ridiculous. It's not cool, man. You were obviously reading off of a script. That is so lame, bro. But to be honest, we're talking about him. He could be a big star. He just needs to turn heel.
I think he does, yeah. He needs to lean into it a bit more. And, yeah, like you say, turn heel. Maybe not go Colby Covington level.
No.
No one wants to see that, and that's obvious from his last.
Garry's got the star power without having to do that level of stuff. He can be a star for sure.
I don't even think he needs to turn heel. I think he just needs to
just fight
to brush this stuff off. Right? Just say, like, if it gets brought up in interviews, like maybe say one or two things, But then just say, look, I don't feel like talking about this, and that would be way more respectable than going, they said this, they said that, but then they've been saying this to other people, and it's just like, yeah, but so did you nonce. Like, what are you on about?
Hypocritical. It's a terrible first interview back. It's only making things worse for Garry. He was looking at a script the whole time. He completely.
Now he's talking about Sean is most likely going to lose the belt. That's what his opinion is, and that he's going to move up to middleweight and give him an ass whooping.
Yeah. Good on you, mate. Good luck.
Yeah, that
good fucking luck.
Like, what kind of career path are you trying to follow there, champ? Like,
script written fucking call out. His wife wrote that script for him, that call out towards Sean because she's like, oh, got to defend your honor. Bullshit. Sick of it.
Yeah, I'm sick of it too. So I think we should talk about Jon Jones and Aspinal going back and forth.
They have been going back and forth. They've been having a bit of
look,
table tennis.
Look, there's an argument that yes, a champion should be active, but this is not your average Joe champion. Okay, this is Jon Bones Jones. This is the greatest to ever do it. And we know for a fact that he's not going to be around forever. He's got a couple fights left.
Plus, he's also got that injury that puts him out until at least like towards the end of the year.
That's right. And just the other thing too, Aspinal knew what he was signing up to when he fought Pavlovich. He wasn't fighting for the undisputed belt. He knew that Jon Jones was injured at that point. So like,
but on the other side of things, he's the interim champ. He's the one that everyone wants to see Jon Jones fight. No one really gives a shit about this Stipe fight anymore. If he beats Stipe, everyone's going to just say, well, you should have fought like Aspinal. That wouldn't have happened against Aspinal. If he beats Aspinal, everyone's going to say, oh, he would have done the same to Stipe. If he beats Aspinal, that is huge. That's like, okay,
you're using MMA math there though, mate. But the thing is, we've got a potential.
That's how the people are going to think about it, though.
I know that's how the people are going to think about it.
If he wants to be a fan favorite, and if he doesn't want people coming at him like this, fight Tom. No one cares about the Stipe fight anymore. No one gives a shit about it.
I do.
Why?
Stipe's
42.
I know.
He hasn't won in 3 years.
Yeah.
Tom has been beating top contenders for the last 5 years. And
that's great, but it's the name. It's the way you market this. And the fact that it was already booked before, right? And that when Tom fought Pavlovich for the interim belt, he knew that he was going to have to wait for Stipe and Jones to fight again. And now it's been a month and a bit, and he's just won't shut up about it. It was pulled out from under him. It's just not the case.
But he's obviously going to market. He's going to push for that fight. But at this point, I just don't think there's any need to have Jon fight a 42-year-old Stipe, after this long layoff. It's like, we just want to see you fight Tom. That's the whole MMA community. It's the
GOAT versus the heavyweight GOAT, though. That's just
the out of prime heavyweight GOAT who hasn't won in 3 years, hasn't been active.
But I think
Tom's a much more dangerous fighter.
I think what the UFC are trying not to miss here is another
easy walk off for Jon.
No, it's another like Jon Jones and Ngannou type like hype matchup, right? It's questions answered. It's who is the best of all time. That's the question that they don't get with Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall has don't get me wrong, a great record, but he doesn't have the depth that Stipe has beat legends. Jon Jones has beaten legends, and they are both going to be legends. I'm not saying Tom Aspinall won't, but he has a long way to go before he can cement himself into that conversation. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree here, but I think, Tom, if you want to stay active, defend your interim belt.
I know, crazy though.
It is crazy, but it's even crazier to go crying about something that you knew was going to fucking happen in the first place.
He's crying. Like he's coming with complete logic of like, I've got the interim belt. I'm the best heavyweight apart from you right now. If they want to fight for their participation trophy, whatever, and then they both walk off into the sunset, cool. But, because Stipe is, if Jon was fighting Stipe 3 years ago, that would have been sick.
I would have been
so hyped about that. But
I'm not saying he's the best competition that Jon can face. It's just,
I don't know. It's just ridiculous. In my opinion, It's just like this participation trophy that the UFC wants to give to Jon. You beat the top heavyweight ever. Fuck you, Ngannou. We would have beaten you if you'd stayed around. It's just a big shit on Ngannou fest, and that's basically it. Because if Jon fights Tom, there's actually a chance he loses. If he fights Stipe, he's not going to lose. Stipe is out of prime, old man, injury prone.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that we have seen a heavyweight at least come back in their 40s and look like a whole new fighter,
I guess. But
so
I just don't think it's as interesting, intriguing, and it doesn't answer as many questions.
I think people are counting him out way too much.
43.
He's
43 by then.
Look. You heard my point on it. I'm not going to continue arguing.
It is what it is. Tom might have beaten the most dangerous heavyweight in the division. Stipe hasn't won.
Jon Jones is the most dangerous heavyweight.
Apart from Jon. Stipe hasn't won in 3 years, and his last fight was a devastating knockout, and he's 43.
And he has those weird glasses now too.
Yeah, he looks fucking weird. He looks kind of sexy.
He looks like he does your job.
Right. Yeah. And he's a firefighting MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Fights two types of things.
Maybe
but anyway,
tech
we'll agree to disagree. We'll move on. Jackson. Oh my God, you've had like none of that.
Yeah, seriously, mate. No, that's going right to the bottom of the list. You haven't missed out on anything here, Kobe. Saying that, look, I should have read more. I liked the look of the can.
Sure you don't want to have another try?
I have been. Look, the thing is, you can't take a big sip, or else you get this full-on spice overload in your mouth. This is definitely an acquired taste, and I
don't have that
no desire to acquire that taste. Yeah, look, if you're into spicy foods, maybe this is you. I'm not a spicy food kind of guy.
Well,
but a spicy drink, I just don't see where that's coming from.
Usually, you want to drink to null the spice.
Yeah. It's not thirst quenching. That's another reason why I haven't drank too much of it. It's very hot. I'm sweating, and I don't want to keep sweating, so I'm not drinking it. But yeah, no, horrible.
Okay,
fucking horrible.
Fair enough. I mean, I can't say much. I don't know what it tastes like, but I can agree with you that that does sound pretty terrible. So, are you saying bottom of the list?
Bottom of the list. I'm going to be pouring the rest of it down the sink after this.
It's a nice can, though.
It's a lovely can. That's what I said. I liked the artwork. That's why we bought it in the first place. It's half the reason why we buy half of these beers, really. But
what's the brand? So if you did want to try this terrible beer, go to Urbanaut.
They actually that's the thing. They do make some very nice beers.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
This is like they're kind of a garage project kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a
crafty.
It's very crafty. It's kind of a novelty drink. Do you know what I mean? It's something very different to what you'd normally get. But they do offer some more standard options that I have tried before, and they're quite nice. Yeah. I was actually at the. No, not this one though. No, cut it out. So
sorry, lads.
Habanero and lime lager is not the go.
They tried something, it failed.
It failed on me.
Failed on Jackson. But if you want to send us free shit, feel free.
Let us know what we should be reviewing. Tell us what beer you drink.
Yeah,
and we'll
think about
rip down to the old super liquor and pick up a pack. And we'll let you know what we think of it.
The one. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we've got for you today. I think this was a pretty good episode.
Is that okay, guys?
Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Any recommendations? Again, we love recommendations.
Love it.
Comment to show that you're listening. Share this around to your mates. I think we're pretty good at this.
Tell us down below, should Stipe be fighting Jon?
Yeah, what's your opinion?
Yeah, you guys should answer this for us. We obviously don't agree. Let us know. We just need one person. Just one person, please. Just one of you. Yeah, anyway. Shall we cut it there?
Let's cut it.
Bye.
Catch you guys. Have a good one. Merry Christmas.